All right, so here we have a couple of elements that we are rendering from a remote data source. And right now we have only implemented the capability of being able to just fetch all of them all at once, right? So let's enhance this a little bit by being able to perhaps remove a widget. So let's do that. In this LI, we might perhaps add a button that renders all the way to the right-hand side that says maybe delete. Okay, there's our delete, and we might want to decorate this to be class, and this is maybe pull it all the way to the right. So we're going to do pull to the right, and that didn't work. Is not pull right? Oh, float right. Sorry. There we go. So it floats all the way to the right. Maybe we might want to make it a little prettier. So button delete. No. Oh, danger. Sorry, danger. There we go. And as we click it, maybe we want to notify the component. Right. The component is the one that provides the data, handles all the events. Right. That's its responsibility. Right. So we can do a click and say I want to notify a function called delete widget, and we want to pass it the widget object that was originally used for rendering this particular widget, right? So if we go to our component, right, we can now handle an event handler that to delete the widget that takes as argument the actual widget, and we can display. We can do maybe a console log widget object. Right. So if we inspect and we look at the console and we click on delete, notice that we have the object that we can remove. Right. So what we'd like to be able to do is to make use of the service, right, to notify the server that we would like to remove this particular widget. Right. So let's do that, and we can say maybe this.service dot delete widget, and the delete widget probably might take as argument the ID of the widget, right, which I believe doesn't exist. So let's implement it. So it would be implemented here, which takes as argument the widget ID, and is going to do a fetch and to the same URL. So HTTP colon slash localhost 3000 slash API slash widget slash, and then the ID of the widget, right? But since this is a delete, we need to declare here was it type or method? I forget. Method. All right, so this is delete. Okay, and hopefully this will come back, and with a response. Actually, we don't really care what the response is. We're just going to return the response. There we go. Okay. Now this service, right, after the query, that after we delete, probably we want to refresh the widgets. One thing that we could do is just so that we don't have to go fetch the widgets again. What we could do is that on the server we could just return the widgets that survive, for instance, right? All the widgets that are after having removed that particular widget. But for now, let's try this out. What we have so far, and notice that if we click on delete, right? If we click on this, notice that it generated this pending here with probably a delete that went out to the server, but it's pending, meaning I did send it to the server, but the server never responded. All right. Before we look at this, notice this first query. Even though I clicked it once, notice that it generated two requests. See that? The first one is what I mentioned earlier. This is called a pre-flight query. Right? This is going out to the server and say, hey server, this is a JavaScript that was downloaded from some other domain. Is it okay if it talks to you? Right? And so the query, notice that the request method is not post, it's not put, it's not get, it's options. Right? The type is options, and the server responds saying that yeah, you are allowed to do delete. You are allowed to do delete, right? Because we sent out the options and we asked, are we allowed? So it's responded to yes, you are allowed to do delete. Once it received a positive 200, otherwise it would have received a 403. Right? It says no, you can't do that. We're not accessing the. Once it's that, then we have the actual query go out. Right? This is the actual query go out to the server and say this is the actual delete that I meant. Right, that it's passing the ID and everything that I need to do the delete. Nevertheless, the server never responded. Let's look at the server. What went on in the server? So let's switch over. And on the server, the service, we do have a delete, but the delete is this one right here. This delete widget probably went in here and never generated a response. Right, it never generated a response. So the client is just waiting forever for eventually it'll time out. But the server never did respond. So for now, let's just do the same thing that our find all widgets did. So let's just respond with all the widgets for now. And let's restart the server. And let's refresh, right? And let's clear this out. And let's delete here. Notice that it no longer is pending, right? So now it is responding, and the response is that it came back with all the widgets. Right, it came back with all the widgets. So we could take advantage of this, right? What we could do is just filter out the widget that has that particular ID, right? And then only respond with the widgets that are left over. Okay, so let's do that. In the delete, what we can do is we can say that the widgets is going to be widgets filter widgets. Widgets. Oh, it's a constant, so it's not going to like that. All right, so I'm going to say let. So now it's a variable, and we're going to filter. So we'll probably need the ID first. So let's go fetch the ID. So we'll say constant ID will be request.params the query of this widget ID from the delete. Now you can use two syntax here, right? Two syntax. One is using it as a map, right? Because params is a map. It's a JSON map, right? And one of the syntax in when you access keys in a map is to use the square bracket notation, right? But you also have the another notation which is equivalent, which is the dot notation. Right? The dot notation can also be used as well. Right, whichever you feel more comfortable, either one works. All right, so I have the ID. We can now filter and say I only want the widgets. So here's a widget. I only want the widgets where the widget ID is different than the actual ID that that I parsed from the parameters. Okay, and once I have that widget, I can now respond with the widgets. All right, so let's try this out. And so let's refresh, and when we delete, it doesn't delete. Let's see what's going on here. Let's put a breakpoint here. Let's stop this. Maybe here. Maybe let's put this in a parentheses so that we can step through this too. There we go. So let's put a breakpoint here, and a breakpoint there. Let's restart this. Okay. So let's delete this. All right, we're here. Let's see the widget ID. Do we have a widget ID? Okay, we have 345. Let's step through this. Okay, we're comparing the ID here, which is 1, 2, 3, compared to 3, 4, 5. So that should work. Let's see. The widgets currently contains. Okay, we're outside, so let's put a breakpoint there. Let's continue. So let's see. Is this a 2, 3, 4? 3, 3, 4, 5. And now this is 3, 4, 5 and 3, 4, 5. All right, come back. Let's see. Widgets. So widgets is now 3 elements. That should work. It was 4, and now it's 3. Okay, so it did filter out. And why is this not? Oh, okay. No, probably because we never updated the state. Right, we never updated the state. So let's go and change the state in the client side. Here's the delete, and the delete widget is doing what? It's fetching. It is returning a response, right? It's returning something, presumably. Let's see if that's true. Oh, okay, there it is. But basically, we want to do a response. We want to parse that response, right? And then in the component, we're going to take that response of the widgets. We're just going to update it. We're going to update the local state. Okay, let's try that out. Let's refresh. Okay, we're here. Let's remove some of these breakpoints. We know that that's working. There we go. So we can remove. They're all gone. All right. And even if I refresh, they're all gone because they're gone in the server. The server can maintain state in a local variable. It can remember, until we don't restart the server, the widgets won't come back. If I restart the server, right, the widgets are still back, right, because they live in a file, right. Then I'm not actually updating any database. I'm not updating any file, right. I'm only updating it in memory, and the memory stays there as long as the server runs. Everybody okay? That makes sense? All right, awesome.